So your basal metabolic rate is the calories your body's burning at rest rate. So this is your body just functioning, your organs doing its job. You know, literally if you lay there on your back just like that all day, these are the calories that your body's got to burn naturally, okay? Now, as you get older, what happens is when we get over 30, our muscle can go into muscle, start to break down muscle. Now, this only takes place if resistance training isn't present and also protein isn't present, a significant amount of protein in your diet. For me, the target for anyone I'm sort of setting is between 0.6 grams to 0.7 grams per pound of weight. You will hear 1 pound a protein, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. But you know, I've done a bit of studies in terms of like what they found is a sweet spot for your nitrogen that's in your wee that determines it is around 0.7. So you know, that's really what I would say is a good maintenance level in order for you to build and maintain lean muscle mass. But the key ingredient is resistance training. So using your own body weight would be one form of resistance training. Obviously, lifting weights is going to allow you to progressively overload, or you can progressively overload by the volume. So if you're doing like pull-ups, let's say, then you progressively overload as you're getting stronger, you should be able to do more. So that's what progressive overload means. But really trying to always push yourself to failure. The only way we grow is through failure. And even if your goal is not to grow, to maintain lean muscle mass is so important, because the more lean muscle mass that you have on your body, the faster your basal metabolic rate is. So if I'm able to maintain lean muscle mass for a prolonged period of my life, then that means I can get away with more calories when I'm not being on point. Obviously not forever. You know, if I stopped weight training and just carried on eating junk, then eventually it would catch up and muscle breakdown would take place. But just to bear that in mind, 70% comes from your basal metabolic rate, and you can speed that up. Where you can damage your basal metabolic rate, by the way, guys, this is a really important point. And I feel that's so relevant to the people that we're working with right now, because if you think about what I call a fad diet, right? So what happens in a fad diet is somebody who drops, let's say, a female who drops below 1,200 calories and a male who drops below 1,500 calories. Inactive male and active female. I would say that's going into a dangerous zone. Now, you might get a little bit lower than that, it might be all right, but that's the kind of a boundary that I would say you don't want to be going below, unless you're doing intermittent fasting, which is a different protocol altogether. But within this, what's happening when you go into that fasted state, into that, what I call that dangerous zone, where you're cutting calories to extreme, is your body's then going to start to metabolize muscle as a fuel source, because you're not giving it enough nutrients to be able to function. So that basal metabolic rate needs calories to survive. It's a survival mechanism. So your body will break down muscle in order for you to, to take it, to maintain your health. So when you cut calories, like let's say you did 1,000 calorie a day deficit, so you're at 1,000 calories a day, right? Your calories are too low. Therefore, what happens is you lose weight, but you also lose muscle. So when you go back to eating old eating patterns, because it's not sustainable to eat 1,000 calories for the rest of your life, then you gain some and some more, and then you do it again. So every time you do this cycle, this yo-yo, you're actually damaging your metabolic rate. So what I'm encouraging each and every one of you to think about is like, okay, we can do this in a controlled way. And control means 1 to 2 pounds per week. Obviously, people exceed that expectation, but there or thereabouts is a good guideline to be in. 1 to 2% body fat per month. Again, a good guideline to be in. These are realistic targets that you can set yourself. So through this process, obviously, we're now at a state of where we're reducing the calories to between 500 and 1,000 calories deficit through the nutrition systems that most of you guys are on. Then ultimately what you can do is, if you then start to exercise, I would encourage you to do resistance style training in order to build lean muscle mass because the diet's taking care of the diet's taking care of the fat loss alone, because you're already in that controlled calorie deficit state. You don't need to go and burn calories because your body's already in that state. So I would much rather you do resistance training in order to build lean muscle. So we're speeding up the basal metabolic rate in the same turn, whilst feeding the body adequate amount of protein, which is what we do through our planet. Everything you notice will have protein within it. It's what we call protein pacing around the whole foods that you're eating. And that's what's really going to allow you to reduce body fat, build lean muscle, ultimately speeding up your basal metabolic rate so we can create sustainable long-term results. Okay, so I think I've covered that. Now, so that's 70%. So that's the 70%. 10% is a thermogenic effect of food. So what I mean by this is when you have certain foods, particular protein is a higher thermogenic effect food source than a carbohydrate. And a carbohydrate is a higher thermogenic food source than a fat. Okay? They are the macronutrients, fats, protein, carbs. So, this is why obviously it's good to have a good amount of protein in your body, because your body's thermogenic effect is much higher at those. So that's 10%. And then your 20% is your physical activity. So again, this is why we call it you've heard of the 80-20 rule, 80% of the results, the 20% of the effort, right? Nutrition, results, right? From 20% of the effort. So again, this is what I'm banging home about, because, a lot of people, even as a qualified PT, one of my biggest frustrations is beasting someone in the gym time and time again, and they're not changing, and I'm like, they're not eating the right foods. There's no other reason why. However, there is an exception. There is a hormone balance, and we touched upon adaptogens and stress last week when we talked about the ionics and why that's such a fundamental part. So again, I challenge you to think about when you're getting to a stage of what I call maintenance. So you've now hit your goal. You have to figure out, of all the stuff that you're having on a day-to-day basis, what is going to become a part of your day-to-day lifestyle? What is going to be a part of your new lifestyle choices? Whether that's, if you're like me, a chocoholic, then instead of that dairy milk bar, have the isoline bar or the Iso Delight. If you're a stress head or your environment's a stressful environment, then have the ionics, make that a part of your daily routine unless your environment changes. If you're, you like to purify your body, then using the Nourish for Life will do that on a cellular level. So get rid of those toxins out of your body. So total daily energy expenditure calculation is a bit of a minefield, right? It's a long calculation. However, I'm going to put in the Motivate Me WhatsApp group after this call a link to the calculator. And it's literally, you go age, height, weight, activity level, bang, done. And it'll tell you your total daily energy expenditure. And what your total daily energy expenditure is your basal metabolic rate plus your level of activity. So those two combined equal your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure. So if you eat the same number as what your total daily energy expenditure is, you remain the same. It's like a scale. If you eat under, then you start to lose weight. If you eat too much under, you start to metabolize muscle as fuel. So our systems sit you between 1,200 and 1,500 calories if for an inactive female and male, and I would say bump up by 300 calories if you're working out more than 3 times a week, and watch what happens on the inches on the tape measure. So the tape measure is going to show us the true picture, because that really is an indicator. If you're seeing like your biceps and triceps going up, if you're doing resistance training, and your chest and back either staying the same or going up, and your waistline coming down, you know that your body composition is changing. So it's a key thing. Okay, so think fat loss, not weight loss. So don't just think about weight loss, guys, because as I mentioned, body composition is the name of the game. Speed up metabolism, reduce unwanted body fat, and you're going to get these two figures here, exactly the same. Weight, I'm actually 80 kg, so like that's type mesomorph type physique is like what I'm at. But like the same people who are, you know, who are bigger in frame are the same weight. So don't go off just weight. Weight's just one indicator, but really pictures and before and after pictures and measurements, especially measurements, are going to be your greatest measure of success. I'd rather drop a dress size or drop, well, what's the saying? Would you rather drop weight or drop a dress size? For women, if you ask any woman that, they'll always say drop a dress size. It's like body composition. Okay. So some tips. So a couple of things to consider. Don't drink sugary calories. So again, you know, soda drinks, cut these out. You may be thinking, well, I'll go for the diet. Still, aspartame, it's what they put in bombs. So not so good in our human body. But I'll let you make your own call on that one. Fruit juices, obviously, again, guys, this is where a lot of people go wrong. Fruit juices, high in fructose sugar. You know, you look up, it's just, the problem with fruit juices is it's the water and the sugar without the fiber. The fiber's in the pulp of the fruit, and you would never eat 6 oranges in a row. So why drink it? So it's as bad as full fat Coke, like literally. Yes, you might be getting a bit of vitamin C. I don't care. Don't drink it. It's full of crap, right? So next one, eating nuts such as almonds, great snacking option. Some good fats to get in your body. Also helps as well suppress appetite if you are a bit peckish. Avoid over-processed foods. So guys, when you're thinking of a supermarket, think single ingredient, either grown from the ground or killed. So, you know, i.e. ingredient, broccoli, ingredient, chicken, ingredient, salmon, ingredient, why has it got 10 on it? No good, right? So you get the picture. Eating oily fish, you know, good source of omega-3s. You can get this through things like avocado as well, but salmon and mackerel in particular, you know, I try and encourage you to eat one piece of that. If not, try and look at other omega-3 rich foods like avocado to get into your diet, or alternatively add a supplement in. Getting enough sleep. I cannot emphasize this enough, guys. Like, one of the strongest individual factors to future weight loss weight gain and obesity is a lack of sleep, because human growth hormone takes place when you sleep, and it's beyond a certain point. So hopefully through this process, guys, you're noticing you're sleeping better as well. And also, you know, with that will come obviously the benefits of having a restful night's sleep. Drinking plenty of water. So we've all probably had this conversation, 2+ liters a day. If you're not so good with water, throw in some infusions like the Twinings infusions, as we mentioned last week. Vitamin D3, should I say. So we don't have much sun, especially in Manchester, where it's pretty much grey all year round. So 70% of the UK are vitamin D deficient. However, you'll be glad to know, if you look at the back of your pack of your shake, one shake contains 50% of your vitamin D. So we don't need to worry about that with the two combined, because you've got that. Making sure you're eating an adequate amount of protein. Again, like I said, 0.7 grams per pound of body weight is what I would try and aim for as a figure. And using cold pressed avocado oil. So again, cooking oil. Now, if you ever like cooked with an oil and just your whole house is just like it's like you've just set off a smoke machine, right? Or is it just me? I'm just a terrible cook. But generally, if you're using different types of oils have different what we call cooking points. So they smolder at a certain point, therefore become toxic. So olive oil is really good for you. However, put olive oil in a frying pan and fry it past, I think, 190 degrees. It smolders and then becomes toxic, becomes bad, right, in our bodies. So again, something to be mindful of. Avocado oil has the highest cooking point. So if you are cooking with that, you know, you'd have to be having the pan on like flaming hot to get it to smolder. So again, a good thing to do, because you don't want to be putting those toxins in your body. don't eat lots of refined carbohydrates. So refined carbohydrates are things like white rice, white pasta. They're actually dyed that way, the starch within them. You want to be leaning towards whole grains. So things like brown rice, sweet potato, quinoa. So again, going back to whole foods and whole food ingredients. Removing sauces and using spices and herbs. I can't emphasize that one enough, guys, because like sauces is where they throw the sugar in. I have found one which is called, it's called Frank's Hot Sauce. Frank's Hot Sauce is the only one that seems to have just raw ingredients. I'm sure there is others on the market, but that's the one that I've used and know of. So spices and herbs instead of sauces, or make your sauces fresh ingredients, so tomatoes and, get creative with that. And switch out ordinary milk for unsweetened almond milk. This is just a preference, guys. Unsweetened almond milk's obviously got your omega-3s in there, but also really low in sugar. A great alternative to dairy milk. If you are having dairy milk, go organic because of the process of the way that the animals are reared. They're not grass-fed, so on and so forth. So enough of the tips. A couple of things to do. Here's 8 spices that will help increase fat loss as well. So obviously this is just the 10% we talked about, guys, from thermogenic effects of food. Chili, cayenne pepper, black pepper, cumin, mustard, turmeric, ginger, cinnamon. Find as many ways you can get those into your foods. I put cinnamon in my shake. Chocolate and vanilla work really well with cinnamon. If you do like cinnamon, that of course. I wouldn't try putting something like turmeric in, but I know Dan Lewington's done some crazy stuff with his shakes. I think he has done something like that. But yeah, so what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to try and do one of these a week. Call it Swap of the Week, where we take a food and we replace it with something that's going to serve you better. Okay, so again, just simple changes, nothing drastic. And if you don't like it, then we can find something else. But I found this to be incredibly, in fact, I prefer it than pasta. And if you've tried it, I highly, highly recommend trying it. If you haven't tried it, should I say, because it tastes great. And look at the nutritional value differences. So you've got white pasta spaghetti. Sorry, Lorenzo, I know you're Italian, but we're going to replace that with endamine bean spaghetti, which you can get in all your supermarkets now, guys. You don't have to go hunting for this, but I know they do it in Aldi. I've seen it in Asda. I'm not sure about Tesco, but again, I'm sure they'll have this in because it's becoming more common. But again, it's derived from a vegetable. So again, you've got, instead of 210 calories, you've got 180 calories. You've got 13 grams of fiber instead of 4. Fiber is great for obviously slowing down and the food absorption, but also helping your body absorb the nutrients. You've got 24 grams of protein versus 7 grams of protein. Very good protein source from a carbohydrate, really good. And 20 grams of carbs versus 41 grams of carbs, and 3.5 grams of fat versus 1 gram of fat. However, that being said, the fat is from a good source. So again, don't get too caught up on that. But that's one swap I would recommend changing. If you try it, see what you like. The only weird thing is it's green, okay? But trust me, don't be put off by the color because it's incredible. So good. So, right, I've talked quite a bit, and I'm going to hand you over to a guy now. If he's still on the call, he is. Let me unmute Ryan. Ryan, can you hear us?
Hi, everyone.
Hey! Hey, Ryan. So, guys, Ryan's been on this journey now for, is it a year or just?
Well, I started it in June 18.
And you've been a bit. I mean, you've said, Ryan. In fact, just share with us your journey. And I want it raw and real. These guys are brand new to isogenics. Some of them not even got started yet. So tell them, obviously, take us through the process because
sure,
you've had a phenomenal journey in terms of, and tell us where you started at, starting weight, and where you are right now.
Yeah. So this really started for me when I got back off holiday, sort of. It would have been the end of the summer in 2017, and I'd just peaked. I'd peaked at over 20 stone. I was 20 stone 2 pounds, and I just decided that I had to do something about it. So it was really off my own back and on my own steam that I just started to exercise more, and just really be a bit more mindful about what I was eating. One of my biggest problems was drinking, really. Drank way too much. And of course, as everybody knows, when you drink too much, it sort of brings on feelings of hunger. And I was ending up sort of snacking as well. So I was just way too big. I've got 3 young children. I've got 5 dogs. So I live a relatively busy life, but I just wasn't active enough. So off my own back, I got myself down to 18 stone 6. And that really was when I engaged with you back in May of 18, and just decided that I needed to do something about it. So I started on isogenics in June 18, when I was 18 stone 6. I went through my first 16-week program, and I managed to get down to 16 stone 12. And then really what I've done from here on in is I've just made it work for me. So when I very, very first started this, what I was doing is I was doing a shake in the morning. I was having a snack mid-morning. I was having a shake in the middle of the day. And then I was going on and having my sort of my meal at the end of the day, going to the gym in the morning. But I was just trying to cram too much in. So in order to make it work for myself, from November last year, so for all of November, December, and now as we're moving into January, I have my shake in the morning, just make it the same way as everybody else does, just blend it with ice. Then in the middle of the day, I have my meal during the middle of the day, as I just find it easier to do that when I'm at work. And then when I get home, I exercise when I get home. So what I tend to do is I was finding that leaving the house in the morning, I was sort of driving 20 to 25 minutes to get to the gym. Then I was working out, having a shower and going to work. So my process now is I get home from work and I flick YouTube on the TV, and I do a kettlebell exercise for half an hour. I've got no travel time. I can just do it in my living room, nice and easy. And then I have my shake at the end of the day. And then if I feel like a snack, I just have some nuts. But in terms of the way that my weight's reduced, I went from 16, 12 and I've gradually gone down, and I'm sub 15 stone now. I'm 14, 12.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, like, that's some journey, like, to go from 20 stone 2 to sub 14 is unbelievable. And Ryan, I mean, you know, if you were again coming into this new, knowing what you know now, what advice would you like to share with these guys in terms of, like, you know, obviously knowing the pitfalls and the ups and downs? What would you share with these guys?
From my point of view, I kind of came into this seeing lots of people had really, really good results. And I suppose one of the things that I didn't consider is I didn't consider the longer game. So probably what I thought was that, you know, you go into it, you do 16 weeks, you reach a point that you're comfortable with. But I didn't really know where I was going to go after that. And now I'm sort of so comfortable with the process that I've got that I just make it work for me. So as far as I'm concerned now, I really enjoy the way that I can just make the shakes and eat and drink them comfortably. And then what I probably haven't said is the point that I've reached now is I do change it round at the weekend. So what I tend to do of a weekend is I tend to have one shake on a Saturday, and I'll have a sort of probably a low calorie meal midday on a Saturday, and then I sort of eat what I want on Saturday evening, but I don't sort of go full hog. So I'm not eating pizza, and I'm not eating fatty foods. I probably just have a curry, but you know, I cut out the bread, or I cut out the rice, or I might put my own accompaniments with it. So I might have a whole grain rice, you know, instead of having, you know, something I shouldn't really.
Yeah,
But,
that's such a key point as well, because you can just make those small alterations that make a big difference. So, like you say, when going for a curry, you know, if you're ordering a takeaway, then having a pilau, instead of having the pilau rice, you know, having a whole grain rice that you can stick in the microwave is going to make that small but big difference over time. So, no, that's amazing, Ryan. Well done. So thank you so much for sharing that with everyone, because I think a lot of people, when they, you know, they start this, the key thing to really think about, guys, is that if your diet has an end date, you're already setting yourself up for failure. You have to be able to look at like what Ryan's done and create a lifestyle beyond this, because let's just face this, right? If you get to the end, and I'm talking to 95% of the UK I speak to, you get to the end of this and you stop, right? 95% of the UK are having cereal, toast, or skipping breakfast, and then they're going into lunch and having a sandwich or a meal deal. So now your choices are you going to get up earlier and start prepping a proper breakfast and a lunch that you're going to take with you, or do you want to maintain your health by using the shakes as an easy alternative to maintain it? And it's not say, like with me, the shakes are a base, so I add oats in and blueberries and Greek yogurt, and so I add more calories into it, but I still have them 2 a day because of the vitamins and minerals I'm putting in my body. So, you know, it's really important, guys, that you're thinking about those. What is it for me that's going to become a part of my new lifestyle ritual? Because that's what's going to keep you there and allow you to maintain that health going forward. Thanks so much, Ryan, for sharing that with the group. I really appreciate it, mate. Okay, guys, we're going to kick on. So I know we were a bit over time. I was going to share a video with you on ISA Life. I'm going to do that next week because we're running out of time. I've waffled on way too much. So I just want to cover a little bit about Product Spotlight. So obviously this is where to just help you understand why you're having certain things. So ThermoGX, we talk about Thermogenic Foods. So this is a perfect time to bring this one up. For me, this is a brilliant health product. This isn't just about fat metabolization. Because this, if anyone was as weird as me and used to have a shot of apple cider vinegar, which is disgusting. I don't even know how I did it. But I used to have a shot of apple cider vinegar before every meal. What ThermoGX has in it is apple cider vinegar. It also has cayenne pepper, which is that thermogenic effect, cinnamon, which again is another thermogenic, and green tea, which is helping you metabolize more fat as a fuel. So again, this powerhouse little capsule that you're consuming, you're like, what the hell is this? That's what it's got in it, all that goodness. So alkalizing your body as well as helping increase fat metabolization. So ThermoGX for me is it's way beyond just fat loss. It's about health, you know, green tea, antioxidants, cinnamon, balancing insulin sensitivity. Anyone who's diabetic definitely have cinnamon in their diet, and that's it. So I've got something exciting to share. I've got a little challenge, right? So obviously Monday's kind of come and gone. So I thought, well, I tell you what, I'll give you a little leeway. How about we throw Mondays into Tuesdays, unless you want to stay up late and do Monday, obviously, of course. Unless you just want to turn off right now and leave the call. This is the challenge, guys. Really, really simple. We can do this in our day. It'll take us probably about 10 minutes max, right, to do each day. Not even that, right? So really simple, but I want to get us moving. If there's anything on this list that you think, I don't know what that is, put it in a WhatsApp group and I'll find a video that's relevant to it. But I would encourage, I'm not going to force, encourage every single one of you to get involved in this little challenge. And we're going to set little weekly challenges so we can start to get fitter, get stronger, and grow through this problem. So Sunday's a day of rest. I'll let you have that one. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're going to be doing some stuff. So I'm going to put this in the WhatsApp group, guys. Again, if you're not in the WhatsApp group, ask whoever invited you onto tonight's call to put you in the WhatsApp group, and they can put you on to this. Guys, that is it from me. I want to just everybody can just unmute themselves or come off, and Q&A time. So this is really for you to ask anything, not even related to that. Go.
Hi, Mark. How you doing? I'm John. I'm recruited by Lorenzo. How you doing? So my biggest thing for me is when I first started fitness and health and all the rest of it, when I was about 18, I was about 6'1" and about 8 stone. I was dead thin. I've now got myself up to just short of 14 stone. But the problem that I'm having, obviously, was mainly it was fat rather than muscle. Now, with this diet, how would I continue to grow in muscle mass whilst on this diet? Do I need to add more calories into what the isogenic plan, or am I fine staying where I am?
So body fat, I would do it at a more gradual pace for someone who's like an ectomorph who might struggle to, they have a fast metabolism, but you want to shred body fat, right? So we need to still be in a controlled calorie deficit. I would say, John, for you, again, I would say working. We'd obviously have to work. How tall are you, by the way?
6'1".
6'1", and you're how old?
I'm 26.
26. Okay. And what do you weigh? 14 stone.
Yeah.
Right. Lorenzo brought you into isogenics, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Okay. I'll send Lorenzo what I would sit you at calorie wise, and then basically you can use, if you're not using the IsoLife app, definitely use that to track yourself. It's got MyFitnessPal built into it, so you can add your food in and stuff like that, and see how you're tracking. I'm gauging around 2,000 calories from them figures, but I'll come back to you. That's going to mean you're going to lose body fat, but the key thing is keep your protein high. So you want your protein to be that 0.7 to 1 gram max. So again, you want to be more protein rich, and resistance training, no cardio, just all resistance, because your metabolism's already rapid. You want to just build lean muscle mass through doing heavy weights. I would go 6 to 12 reps failure. So every single exercise that you're doing should be failing between 6 to 12 reps. Otherwise, bump it up. Okay. Again, Lorenzo, you can give him access to the hypertrophy style training on the app. Guys, anyway, as well, if you're training wise, we've got all sorts of training programs. So we've got that tool that we can you'll have an app on your phone. You literally track it as you're going along. So reach out to whoever if you need that. But John, Lorenzo, I'll put you on the hypertrophy style training. Are you training how often a week? How many times a week?
Generally about 5.
Right. There's a 5-day hypertrophy training, Lorenzo. Yeah. Cool. John, let us know how you get on, mate. Obviously, keep us posted through the calls, and we'll see how we're tracking. Class.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Anyone else, guys?
Hello, mate. Mark, it's Dominic here. Dominic UGN.
Hey, Dominic.
44 years old, Jamaican descent, 6'1", fat as anything. I'm basically as beginning as it gets, but I've had 2 car accidents which done me back in, so I haven't kind of engaged in a proper gym program, as it were, per se. I'm thinking more quick term weight loss, because I'm about 20 stone, to get that weight off, but kind of keep a good muscle figure as well. So what sort of course would you recommend? I like what you've put on screen here. Is that a good place to start this workout?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned before, Dominic, that the exercise is obviously the 20%, but for fat loss, getting down, say, from 20 stone to reduce that body fat, we need to be in a controlled calorie deficit. So are you on isogenics, Dominic, or are you not?
Do you know what Danny put me on? He said, talk to this guy. He's as good as it gets. So
okay, cool. So that, obviously we have a nutrition system that the majority of people on this call are on, but that's designed. It's called a fat burning system because it incorporates holistically things like a stress balancer, the Thermogenic that we touched upon. It helps aid digestion through our IsoMove, your Nourish for Life. So there's a whole system which sits you between a certain calorie deficit. So that's from the nutrition standpoint, that's going to take care of that. You can obviously do this through whole food. The key thing is, Dominic, is obviously I'm going to put the total daily energy expenditure calculator in the Motivate Me group, but Danny can send that on to you. And what I would say is, when you look at the calculation and you'll see on the calculator, it'll say fat loss, this is your target. When you see that target, then use MyFitnessPal, download the app, and then track yourself calorie-wise. Do it for 7 days straight, right? So just as you are right now, 7 days straight, track yourself, see what you're coming in at, and that's going to tell you where you are in alignment with where you need to be. And then need to lower the calories in alignment with that fat loss goal. Okay, so there's a bit of calculation to do there. Obviously, the app MyFitnessPal will do the calculation. It just requires that tracking. And then in alignment with that, you want to obviously make sure that you're, where you are, bring your calories down. Because if you're going in the wrong direction, then you're in a calorie surplus, without a doubt. Or it could be as well if you're, how's your stress levels, Dominic?
I work with young people that got behavioural problems, so that's as high stress as it gets. But I'm good. My problem is I eat late at night.
Okay. So if you are eating in late at night's not an issue, right? A lot of people think it is, but obviously what I would try and avoid late at night, if you're not exercising close to that window, is carbohydrates. I would try and refrain from carbohydrates too late at night. I would go with more protein and as many greens as you want. So you want to basically load up on that type of stuff. The perfect sort of nighttime snack, if you like, is an omelette, because you've got some good fats and some protein in there. But again, it's the calories in versus calories out. But the key thing is, Dominic, when you're doing this, whole food, cut back the sugars, like sugars in your brew, sugars through drinks that you may be drinking, soda drinks, energy drinks, whatever. That's going to be golden for you, for your body to be able to release. But you have to be in that controlled calorie deficit, and your hormones need to be balanced as well. So again, Dan does have the system that he can share with you. There's a video of me explaining it, so take a look at that if you want to make it super simple, as you're hearing from these guys. But if you do need to do it whole food, you can do it whole food, of course. It just requires a little bit more preparation and time, that's all.
Thanks very much for that. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Dominic. Thanks for asking. Anyone else, guys? Right. I think we'll call that a wrap. I think everybody's asked. I'm sorry we've overrun, but guys, listen, this Q&A probably is the most important bit for me, because it's raw and real, and it's like, if I don't know the answer, I'll just go, I don't know, but I'm going to find it out for you, and I'll bring it to next week's call. So thanks very much, guys. I hope you got value from tonight's call. I hope to see you on next week. Have an amazing day, amazing evening, and stay healthy. Take care, guys.
Cheers, Mark.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Thanks.